One of the main things about having this job fair today is to not only put jobs in the community and to be able to help returning citizens out, because our main focus sometimes can be, well, our main focus is if you haven't been indicted, you're not invited. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I suggested that we attack that demographic of people, because we are some of the most underserved when we turn back to society. We are some of the most underprivileged when we return back to society, and we have to concentrate on building those healthy relationships with our families again. And it becomes very difficult when you don't have finance and you don't have opportunity to grow. So today, this job fair is particularly for a number of different jobs and the people who are helping us with the resumes, the wonderful people from the Shepherd's Hands and Minerva Park and Miss Alicia. They've come here today because they deal with a lot of mental health. And returning to society, for me, I do see a therapist, and I think it's very important to be able to open my mind up and express those things that have hindered me for so many years and had me returning back and forth to prison. You know, so I think it's very important that you align yourself with these wonderful people over here, because mental health is very serious. I didn't know that I struggled with mental health until I started getting some help and realized some of those traumatic experiences, being in the streets, those things have impacted my life in negative ways. And me going back and forth to prison has affected my children and my family in negative ways as well. So I'm here today to present to you some wonderful gentlemen, Mr. David Ector, who is my partner, childhood friend, and Mr. Ector is a avid person when it comes to community activities. Just until recently, I didn't know he was affiliated with Minerva Park Behavioral Health. Man, it's just an honor to be here and be able to speak before y'all. And I want y'all to really know my part of the story when it comes to this life. I was born and raised here in Columbus, Ohio. I graduated from, well, I didn't graduate. I went to Eastmore High School. I think I went to school more high than high school, you know what I'm saying? But I started getting into selling drugs at an early age, and that turned my life to a whole big ball of mess. You know, now that I'm looking back and I see these things, you know, the damaging consequences I've caused in the community by selling drugs and thinking about my own self-gratification and how I can move and do things and being so selfish and thinking about money all the time instead of my family and putting those type of things first. I served 21 years in state and federal prison in 3 different sentences, right? When I got out this time, I had a son. He's 7 years old now. When I got out this time, I said, you know what? I need to do something that's going to change my life and be able to help my other people back in Columbus and help my people in Baltimore. And so I got with the organization called Hope Baltimore. And Hope Baltimore is an organization that that concentrates on returning citizens. You can pass those around. That concentrates on returning citizens. Hope stands for Helping Oppressed People Excel. Now, there's a lot of red lines and barriers that we face as returning citizens, and just as people, period, on a lot of cases. But those barriers and red lines, they can't stop you from being who you want to be for real. Because I found out that if I give myself a chance after returning back to society after being incarcerated, that is what's going to make my change. That is what's going to make the success of my child, Miss Lourdes over there, and my young son, Nazir Xavier. I lost a son last year here in Columbus. He was killed. And that was part of my wake-up call. You know, that to me, it hit me. It was very, very painful, and I still go through it. You know, and that's one of the reasons I seek therapy, because I need that outlet to be able to express myself. And sometimes, you know, it's good to get it out in tears. And I do cry a lot when it comes to thinking about my son. But, you know, I think that me putting it on my shoulders and looking at the damage that I've caused, had I been the productive member of society or the responsible parent, maybe he wouldn't be in the grave. Maybe he wouldn't have died, you know, because I would have been there to tell him stop, no, and don't. instead of being off in somebody's prison serving time for some ill-begotten gains, you know? So today I just want to tell you that a job is the only thing that has kept me out of prison and out of trouble. You know, with the temperament of today's society, and I'm not no big politician or anything like that, even though I have since I've been out of incarceration living in Maryland. You know, Annapolis, Maryland is like Columbus, Ohio. It's the capital where they have all the laws and policy changes, right? And the gentleman back there from Baltimore, Mr. Antoine Quarzel, got me into policy change. You're going to hear from him in a few. Got me into policy change, and that's the only way that I can make a difference and change the institutional system, the ways that things are going in our community, the funds that's put in our community that aren't utilized properly, and things of that nature. So what I did through Antoine teaching me the things about policy and all that, I got an opportunity to testify on the bill. It's called the Second Look Act in Maryland. And because I testified on that bill, it was 565 people that was able to return to society just this November, just last month, you know. And you know, I never in a million years thought I'd be working with the mayor's office of any state, you know. I mean, that's just, it still behooves me sometime when I go in the office and being able to serve people in that community. So I said, you know what? I need to bring this same energy, this same concept here to my city. This is my city right here. You know, people love me right here. People love me in Baltimore. But you know what? These people in Columbus, I think that living in Baltimore now and seeing everywhere I go, I see black people. I see black people all over the place, Walmart, banks, everywhere. And I'm like, man, why don't we start to stick together like this in Ohio? And then I'm not saying nothing wrong about any other race or anything like that, but it was a culture shock for me. Coming from Columbus, Ohio, and being in a city where I could go maybe an hour without seeing one white person, that's a culture shock to me, you know? But to be immersed and being able to receive help and be able to help the community is something that has brought me back to this city and said, I don't care what color you are, who you are, if you need a job, if you need an opportunity, if you're serious about changing your life, Jobs on Deck is on deck. You hear me? Jobs on Deck is here. This is an organization that is going to help you understand the key components to getting a job. One of the key components to getting a job is your attitude. Your attitude, your energy. You know how you can meet somebody and you can say, you know what? I really don't like that. I wasn't feeling him. That energy be off. You know what I'm saying? But another thing is the way you dress. The way you dress. You know, we connected with closets. Dave and I have connected with closets over here to where the women can get clothes, to where the men can get clothes. Then we're going to do, been doing mock job interviews, right? Now, those mock job interviews essentially is for you to get the feel of a company or get the feel of being in front of a person and being interviewed and getting out of your shell, right? So when you sitting across from that table, when you think about that interviewer, you know, a lot of us in here, most returning citizens, well, I don't know if everybody's returning citizen because some of y'all look like y'all been out for quite some time, if y'all are, and y'all been doing a good job. But for returning citizens, if we were selling drugs on the streets, hey, uncle, all right. If we were selling drugs on the streets and I owe, say, Dave some money, right? I don't pay Dave. Dave's a street guy. It's going to be repercussions and penalties of that, right? So what is the difference of me going to a Chase Manhattan or a Walmart or one of these places and being interviewed by a person I know that's not going to do nothing but say no? That's the worst they can do. And I say that to give you confidence of who you talking to. You got to know who you are first. You know what I'm saying? When you walk in that interview, first thing you want to do is go to the interview place a day before. Why go a day before? So that way you can see the distance between your house and that place that you got to be the next morning. so you won't be late, right? So that also you can get a temperament of how the people are dressed. Hey, Matt, of how the people are dressed, right? So you can gauge that. These are little tricks that you can use, and also find something about the company, because they're going to ask you, why do you want to work here? I want to work at Borden. Is Borden still on Joyce Avenue? Is this? Okay. Say if I wanted to get a job at Borden, why would when the interview asks me, why would you want to work for Borden? Borden is a milk company, Antoine. All right. It's like Dairyland in Baltimore. All right. Why would I want to work here? Because I know it has longevity, right? It's a great company. I hear that the culture is good, right? And I have incentive to change. So if I'm working in a Borden company, maybe I can help the distribution of the milk a lot faster. Just something as simple as that. I'm just using that as an example. You don't have to say those exact things, but what you say to that interviewer is going to depict how you get that job and how that person is going to look at you, because there's a lot of competition. And going back to what I was meaning to say when I said I'm not no politician or anything like that. I'm not into politics, but I will say this: since the immigration sweeps across the United States, it has opened up a lot of jobs. You know, a lot of immigrants were doing the jobs that people didn't want to do, right? So guess what? Now those jobs are available. They're available. But you have to think that a lot of people lost their jobs and a lot of people quit during the shutdown, right? And now I'm going to tie this all in together. But because they quit, the people that was part of the government, they were starting to take those jobs that people normally wouldn't take. So that made a whole different competitor. You understand what I'm saying? That made a whole different competitor. So now you really have to sharpen up, because here's people that's truly overqualified for these medium grade jobs. You know, one of the main things that I tell people in Baltimore is this, because everybody comes to get a job during during December, right? Everybody, Christmas time, you know. Hey man, where you been the last 11 months? You know what I'm saying? Now you want to put pressure on me because you've waited till the 12th hour, literally, to get a job. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. When it comes to job development and workforce development, what we do at Jobs on Deck, we contour you slowly. You're not going to get a job come Monday morning. Let's just be realistic. You know what I'm saying? But if you keep the contact with us and we exchange the information like we are doing, and we have these mock job interviews, we have these conversations. I don't care if you call me. You can call me. My number is on the flyer. My name is Nigel Jackson. You can call me anytime and say, hey, Nigel, what do you think about this? I'm putting the application over here. Now, when we build your resumes, not one resume is for every job. Not one resume, because you might be a sous chef, right? But you might be going to fill out a job for put a job in for nursing, right? That resume doesn't go with that application. You know what I'm saying? So now we want to contour that resume to make it make sense for this job. And I want to connect you to remember these words: earn better. Everybody say earn better. Earn better is a application, a resume application where it's absolutely free. You just make you a account, and then you put your information in there, and it's going to regenerate. It's AI generated. You know what I'm saying? So and this is why a lot of people say, hey man, I done put 80 applications in this week with Indeed, right? Indeed, the job site, right? But a lot of people don't know that nobody looks at resumes anymore until they get to the interview, right? So if I got a job, again, with the sous, she's a sous chef, but she's going out for nursing, I'm going to take some of that information from that job description and put it in my resume. Why? Because that algorithm, everybody say algorithm. That algorithm is going to pick up those keywords from that job description. So then, boom, we get into the interview table, All right, now I know I got an interview coming up. What's today? The 19th. I know I got an interview coming up Monday. So it makes sense for me to go on Sunday or go during a busy hour to see or that time frame that I'm going to be going to that job interview and seeing how long it takes me to get from A to B. Right? Then I'm going to sit out there, maybe go talk to a few people. It's a small city. You know somebody that probably works in that building. You know, you might see somebody, hey man, how's the culture in there? What's it like? You know, and a lot of places, and Dave called me last week on this. He said a guy started working at Connect Housing, right? We have a good rapport with Connect Housing. And the guy got into it with the manager. Now the guy ain't been working but a week, right? So when Dave called me, I say, hey, how long this guy been working at Connect Housing? He said, oh, about a week. I said, he's having a problem with the manager? He said, yeah. I said, well, it might be the guy. You know, when we coming into new cultures, when we coming into new rooms, when we meet new people, we have to be mindful. One, we got to keep our mouth shut. And if they giving us a check, two, we there to get a job. I mean, to do a job. You know, sometimes people can be overzealous when they get these positions. So what? I'm here to get a check. I'm gonna sit back and learn and just observe for the first week. I'm not gonna do a lot of talking. I'm not gonna do a lot of hee and ha. I'm gonna learn. Because at the end of the day, I'd love to bring this up. It's a lady that works with me at the mayor's office in Baltimore. Her name is Miss Kim, Asian lady. Wonderful woman, but you know her work ethic is off the hill. You know what I'm saying? And all my paperwork has to go through her before it makes it to till I'm able to make a placement, a job placement. Before I can make a job placement, I have to have all my data entry in and everything, then give it to Miss Kim, and she's going to check it. And she is a thorough woman. I was upset. I've been working for the mayor's office longer than her. I've been working for almost 2 years. This her first year, right? But I was upset, like, man, Miss Kim giving me all this extra stuff to do. I ain't normally have to do that. But then I started thinking, I said, you know what? Eventually I'm going to know everything she teaches me, plus I'll know her job. She can't do my job. She can't go on the street corners of Baltimore and say, hey, step out the car. Hey, listen, a clump of guys standing at the gas station doing what they do. Hey, the feds still got beds, homie.
Thank y'all for welcoming me to Ohio. It's been a tremendous journey. Like all of us said, like we come from experiences and things, you know, out of Baltimore. All I knew was Baltimore, the trap life, how it came with it, and never thought about like being legit or none of that. But then serving 21 years and finding out after 19 that I had a legal 30-year sentence I shouldn't even had. So I came home in 2013. A lot of my friends, I had one cousin that I walked with for like 7 years, and he used to always say, like, bro, if you ever get out, you just gotta get me home so I can hug my mother again. You know, so my whole thing became about changing policy, educating, but everything, I think, and all of us that know, every experience that we go through is building you for the path where you're going at. You just gotta figure out what your lane really is. Every struggle, every crying night, every like stigma that been put on us, because some of us have some stigmas that ain't gonna never be removed because of lifestyles and things we committed to and how we had to survive. But those same skills that came from the stigma, if we learn how to like put the same energy into something different, I'm telling you, there is no level of limit that you can't proceed to. You know, Nigel, I'm really proud of you, right? Because I remember like when you first came, and you know, and I tell this story all the time. I'm a straight street guy, and me and my guys was in the room, and when Nigel came in, they was like, yo, they sent him here for you to work with him personally. I said, bro, he could be a cop. I don't know. Like, and he was like, yeah, I'm from Ohio, and such. And I was like, all right, bro, we're gonna figure it out. But I had to like say, why would I put a stigma on somebody? you know, because the understanding of dress codes and things I think a certain way supposed to be, but then I say his energy, God sent him because he's the one that I need to be in mayor's office and all that, because they just wasn't going to deal with me. You know, they wasn't going to deal with me because how I talk, you know, my lingo and the things that I really talk about. We heard a lot of the like traits, qualities now. I want to get into some of the things that y'all really have to know and understand. You know, Ohio is a city that basically has, how many of y'all familiar with Bang the Box?
What's the name of it?
Bang the Box.
Voting.
Bang the Box. So Bang the Box is where they can't ask you about any conviction question on an application. Ohio been cleared with the Fair Chance Act since like 2016. So anybody do it, you say I don't have to answer that question. Bang the Box also deals with housing, medical, colleges, and all these things. So there are things that are called red line issues that basically comes from practical circumstances about economy states, where people in the 1800s didn't have GEDs or was left property and didn't have the equitable status.
You know what it is. I'm Nigel, Jobs on Deck Jackson. Today, we had the wonderful honor to welcome Minerva Park Behavioral Health to our job fair. They've been rocking with us since the beginning. I want to ask you, Matt, what are you doing for the community, and how can people come to you to get that help that they need when it comes to mental health issues that they must struggle with?
So we do inpatient and outpatient facilities. We have two different locations. One is our inpatient, the other one is outpatient. We give them all the different tools and resources they may need to, succeed within their life. Helping them along the way, answering any questions they may have, and just guiding them in the right direction so they can restart their life.
There it is. I really greatly appreciate you coming, Matt.
Thank you so much.
Man, y'all done a wonderful job. And I hope to see you at the next one. All right?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. It's your man Nigel, Jobs on Deck Jackson, and today I had the wonderful privilege to be hosting an event here in Columbus, Ohio. The Shepherd's Hands. The Shepherd's Hands is a behavioral healthcare facility that helps people change their way of thinking, any substance abuse or disorders they may be dealing with, anything that has to do with mental health. I want to ask you, Charlotte, what is the most important thing that you feel that the Shepherd's Hand does for this community?
I believe that we do a lot for the community. I believe that we help people focus on what their abilities are and what they need to do to be successful in this world. We do a lot of helping the developmentally disabled and the elderly. And we also help people with jobs. We help them find resources. So we give help to the community by showing them resources in the community.
Today, Jobs on Deck has had the wonderful honor and pleasure to meet Mr. Lawrence Winkfield. And he told me to do it like this. Winkfield, okay?
Like winking your eye in the field?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, that's fine. I want to ask you this question. What are you doing that is going to be conducive to, and I know you're doing some wonderful things, I heard you speak earlier. What are you doing that's going to be conducive to the success of the members of this community?
One thing I would like to do to contribute to the success of the community is to help individuals understand that there is a hope for recovery, short-term and long-term, but the most important thing for them to commit themselves and for them to work out the plans necessary to accomplish that which they want to accomplish.
Okay. I would like to ask Mr. Wink this next question.
Yes, sir.
Being that you are an attorney?
Yes.
Okay, how long have you been an attorney? A defensive attorney?
Since 1975, I was an assistant prosecutor for 2 years. From that point, I was a defense counsel. Felonies, misdemeanor divorces, dissolution, child support, bankruptcy, and I used to be a bankruptcy trustee. So you see, that's what, Nigel, I believe enables me also to understand some of the social dynamics that people go through, because I understand some of the sociology, economic, mental health, finances, family dynamics, etc.
Okay. My name is Nigel, Jobs on Deck Jackson. Today is my 1,039th day out of federal prison. And I would like to welcome you to this podcast called Welcome to Prison. And this is the place where you have to be indicted to be invited. If you ain't never been to prison, if you ain't never done no time, we don't even want to mess with you, homie. We don't care what your story is, how much money you was getting. We don't care about none of that. If you haven't been down for the struggle and getting back in society and reacclimate yourself on the proper terms, building healthy relationships with your family, we're not even on it. Today I got my man Mojo with me out of the Bronx, New York City. He is in Columbus, Ohio. And first thing I want to ask you, Mojo, is how does it feel to be alive?
Great.
It feels great to be alive.
Well, I was buried alive just a couple years ago.
You was buried alive
A couple months ago, rather.
Right. Mojo served how much time?
24 years and 2 months.
You got to speak up some.
24 years and 2 months.
All right. 24 years and 2 months, man. Most people don't even. Some people don't even live to be that old, man. So what was it like being incarcerated? I know you said you was in Florence, Colorado, and for the viewers that don't know nothing about federal prison, Florence, Colorado is the AdMax of the institutional system in the feds. It's where they house people like Larry Hoover, El Chapo, all these high-class criminals that have been, some of them been wrongfully convicted, but this is where they house them at. And it's inside of a mountain, is that right?
Yes.
It's inside of a mountain.
Well, the federal system consists of, a bunch of maximum security prisons, minimums, but it's nationwide. So even if you're from Pennsylvania, they'll send your ass to Victorville, California. You're going to do your time all over the country. Florence, Colorado is the graduate school of jails. It's the Supermax, the world secure prison. It's built into the side of a mountain in the Colorado Rockies.
Wow.
They send you there for influence. They send you there because your case is so heavy. They send titans from different countries there. And then they send the most violent people in the federal system there who court murders and shit like that.
Wow. While you were there, what was one of the first things you wanted to do upon returning back to society and being a free man? Did you know that you was going to be getting out after serving 24 years and your 24 years and 2 months? Did you have an out date, or did you add time onto your sentence by getting in trouble? How much time were you sentenced to?
Nah, when I was 22, I was sentenced to life without parole for a nonviolent drug offense. Did I think I was getting out? My appeals were shot.
Bring it over here.
Right, but what about the resume we already have? Don't you
Thank
still
you.
need that too?
You got a resume already. Just email it to me.
Okay, is your email on there?
Yes,
Bill Top Hustler.
It's on the flyer.
Jobs on deck.
Yeah,
You don't have any job positions?
David Jobs on deck actor. It's on there.
Okay,
I got
need
you.
my resume.
All right.
That's
With that, you have to speak with the owner.
Do you want me to get
if
this
you
to
got
someone that I have?
if you got somebody, if you got somebody that want a job, I mean,
Right,
if you ain't got nobody, don't worry about it. But if they want a
Please
job,
step up, Brad.
Yeah, I give it to
Pound.
give it to them
Excuse me, everybody.
immediately.
I would like to introduce the people who came here today with the mental health sector of this job fair. First, I'd like to welcome
I got you. Hold on.
what exactly does Lighthouse do?
Two-week substance abuse and mental health program that
David
offers
Jobs on deck
that
at gmail.com.
that offers housing.
You want me to send you a picture of it?
After a certain time, it
hold on,
offers
I got it.
PhD,
You got it?
IOP, outpatient only. You do not have to live in our house to do
got
our
it?
services.
got it, bro.
You get a one-on-one, you have case management, you have to go through 5-day, 4-day,
So leave them on top of each other. You want to fold it up? Fold it up. Whatever you
And
want
then y'all
to do.
come to us for that one day of work. Right? All right. While I was off in prison, she was living in Dayton, Ohio with her family, her mother and her sisters over there. And I made it a point when I came home to get my daughter, because I knew that if I got her, it was going to make me step my game up. You know what I'm saying? And that's part of the reason I moved to Baltimore, because I knew that, because besides I caught the federal case out of Baltimore. I knew that if I lived in Baltimore, that would cease me from selling drugs again, because the blood and the murder rate is high. And I needed to be in a place where I knew that these guys would kill me if I jumped out there again. That's how insane I was with selling drugs and getting money and all that type of stuff. Stuff that didn't mean nothing now, you know. But my daughter, she goes to the oldest all black girls school in the world, in America. It's called Western High School. She says to me when she first started going, hey dad, what if what if I start liking girls? I said, well, I won't have to worry about you getting pregnant. Is there anything that you'd like to say?
No. I just want to say it's good having my dad home. Him being out of my life kind of, like affected me a little bit, but like having him back, it's a pleasure.
Jobs on deck.
All right.